It begins with one sentence in a safety policy. A frontier AI company approaches a capability it believes could enable catastrophic harm. Its safeguards are not ready. The model is supposed to wait. But the policy now asks another question before the company commits to stopping. What are its competitors doing? That question changes the break. The promise behind a frontier safety framework is easy to understand. A company defines dangerous capability thresholds, tests its models against them, and strengthens safeguards before crossing the line. If the protections are not ready, development or deployment can be delayed. Then, in July 2026, the Future of Life Institute published its Summer AI Safety Index. FLI convened 7 technical and governance experts to assess 9 frontier AI companies across 37 indicators and 6 safety domains. Their conclusion was not that every safeguard had vanished, it was narrower, documented, and more difficult to dismiss. The panel concluded that Anthropic, OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Meta had weakened or voided previous pledges to pause unilaterally if their own red lines were approached through different policy changes and conditions. In some cases, the report said restraint had become contingent on competitors. The red lines remained, safety teams remained, but according to the panel, part of the promise to stop had changed from a decision one company could make alone into a decision shaped by the race around it. It begins. Warning, what you are about to hear is based on the Summer 2026 AI Safety Index from the Future of Life Institute, produced from public evidence, a targeted company survey, and the judgments of 7 technical and governance experts. It is not a government audit, a regulator's ruling, or proof that any company broke the law. Its evidence stops on June 3rd, 2026, and Anthropic updated its policy again on July 8th. This is not a story about every safeguard disappearing, it's a story about what happened to the promise that mattered when every other safeguard failed. The promise to stop. The change happened in public, inside clauses, definitions, and conditions. The index gave Anthropic the highest overall grade, C+. OpenAI and Google DeepMind received a C, Meta received a D+. The remaining 5 companies ranged from D- to F. Those are the panel's judgments, not objective measurements of safety, but even the leader did not earn a B. And in the displayed category for existential safety, no company scored above D+. FLI also gave the leaders real credit. It praised transparency, technical evaluations, governance work, published frameworks, and attempts to build safeguards. Even the report's strongest criticism sits beside evidence of real safety work. But the most consequential sentence inside a safety framework may still be the one that says when the company will stop. The panel believes that promise is becoming harder to activate. And the clearest evidence is not buried in a leak. Anthropic wrote the dilemma into its own policy. Its Responsible Scaling Policy, or RSP, was first released in 2023. Its bargain was clear. More dangerous capability required stronger protection. The policy has evolved repeatedly, and the current version is 3.4. Version 3 openly names the force that changed the policy, a collective action problem. The previous RSP, Anthropic says, committed the company to reducing the absolute risk from its models to acceptable levels without regard to whether other frontier developers did the same. If one responsible laboratory pauses to build stronger safeguards while less cautious rivals continue, the rivals may take the lead. Anthropic argues that the developer which stops could lose that lead and with it influence over how the technology develops. Anthropic's new structure separates what it plans to do as a company from what it recommends for the entire industry. It says it cannot commit to following the broader recommendations unilaterally. In their place are commitments that activate under specified competitive conditions. Under one scenario, if Anthropic has developed a highly capable model and has clear evidence that no competitor will soon match it, the company says it will delay development and deployment as needed until catastrophic risk is contained or until it no longer believes it has a significant lead. Under another scenario, if all relevant competitors have strong safety measures, Anthropic says it will meet or exceed their risk reduction posture and delay as needed until it does. Read the logic carefully. If Anthropic is clearly ahead, it says it can afford to stop. If all relevant competitors have strong protections, it says it will meet or exceed them, but the old structure asked one question: has our model crossed our line? The new structure can require a second question: what are the other laboratories doing? But the policy does not say Anthropic will never stop outside those conditions. Anthropic says it would strongly consider pausing even when the listed scenarios are not triggered, and the policy retains risk reports, roadmaps, safeguards, governance measures, and goals for external review. So, brakes removed is a metaphor. The machinery remains. According to FLI's panel, what weakened was the guarantee that one driver would brake even while the others kept accelerating. FLI's panel says the same structural problem appears across Anthropic, OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Meta, although not through identical policies or identical changes. Its finding is that unilateral pause pledges were weakened or voided, sometimes through conditions tied to competitors. The report also says frameworks can lack measurable thresholds, genuinely independent audits, and clear authority over the final decision. Anthropic's defense is understandable. If one laboratory stops while a less cautious rival continues, the rival may take the lead and set the pace. But FLI's warning is the mirror image. If laboratories make restraint conditional on competitors, nobody has to be the first to stop. Each company can publish a serious framework, each can point to the competitive pressure around it, and the combined result can still be acceleration. This is the trap. A private company can test its own model, it can strengthen its own security, it can publish its own red lines. What it cannot do alone is make every competitor stop at the same line. If unilateral restraint is commercially unstable, then the missing brake may have to sit outside the race. Shared thresholds, verifiable standards, independent review, and decision authority that does not depend on the company trying to win. The Future of Life Institute has not proven that disaster is coming. Its index is an expert assessment built from public evidence with a June 3rd cutoff. Companies may dispute its judgments, new policies may improve, coordination itself could be weak, uneven, or impossible to verify, but the documents do show one documented change. Anthropic once framed its company commitments without regard to rivals. Its current policy explicitly accounts for them. FLI's panel separately concludes that unilateral pause pledges were weakened or voided across 4 frontier leaders. The red lines did not disappear. The safety teams did not disappear. According to FLI's panel, some unilateral emergency brake commitments were weakened, voided, or made conditional. And the most dangerous moment in this race is not when the drivers stop seeing the cliff, it is when every driver sees it, every driver reaches for the brake, and each one waits for someone else to move first. Because the next dangerous release may not follow a safety promise being openly broken, it may be released after that promise is rewritten. This is just the beginning. We do not read the headlines, we read the safety frameworks. Subscribe to Terminus. You need to see what comes next.